Larry Hoover changed the aim of the so-called gangster disciples to growth and development and began to guide them.
What up, dog? You already know how I go. Make sure you smash like, subscribe, comment. I don't care what you comment, as long as you comment. You dig? Let's talk about the old man, Larry Hoover. And when y'all hear, guys like Kanye, when he go off and he say the old man, he talking about Larry Hoover. The guy of all guys, the biggest that ever did it on that tip. You dig what I'm talking about, Paul? In 1998, Hoover was convicted of a number of offenses related to his involvement with the notorious Chicago narcotics group, the Gangster Disciples. Hoover served on the gang's board of directors as the highest ranking member with the title of chairman of the board. His convictions included engaging in a continual criminal enterprise, using minors to further drug conspiracy, possession and distribution of narcotics, using a telephone to facilitate drug offenses, and using a firearm during a relation to a drug offense. The convictions were affirmed on direct appeal. You got to see the United States versus Hoover for that. Subsequent filings for a 7th Circuit en banc rehearing and a writ of certiorari to a Supreme Court were denied. At trial, the government's key evidence against Hoover came from recordings of intercepted conversations between Hoover and other individuals who visited him while he was incarcerated at the Vienna Correctional Center, many of whom were later convicted as co-conspirators. The government obtained warrant authorization for the tapes from a district court. Now, mind you, Hoover was already in the state serving time for a body. The government concealed listening devices inside visitor badges, which all visitors were required to wear during the time at Vienna. A number of tapes yielded evidence regarding the gang's drug-related activities in Chicago. In May 2003, Hoover filed his 2255 motion for post-conviction relief. Hoover's petition asserts 3 claims, which more discernibly represents 4 claims related to the tapes. The tapes violated the 4th Amendment, he states, because the listening devices were on the body of another, which required the consent of either the person upon whose body the device was placed or Hoover himself. The government's original application to intercept oral communications did not meet the 4th Amendment's particularly requirement because it did not clearly state the place where the communications were intercepted. The court order authorizing the tapes was void because the government omitted material information as to the method of interception in its application for authorization. Hoover's counsel was ineffective because they failed to pursue any of the above issues concerning the tapes and authorization thereof. John Seidel stated, "A man labeled one of the most notorious criminals in Illinois' history has renewed his bid to undo his life sentence he's serving in the federal Supermax prison in Colorado, and he claims to have renounced the violent street gang he once led." U.S. District Judge Harry Lewinberg last year declined a request from Gangster Disciples founder Larry Hoover for a lower sentence under the First Step Act, an act signed by Trump in 2018. And also, in case y'all don't know, Smoke Chino got out on the First Step Act because of Donald Trump. Now, Hoover has taken advantage of that opportunity in a pair of letters to the judge and the public filed late Wednesday in Chicago's federal court. Hoover wrote in a rare public comment that he is no longer the Larry Hoover people sometimes talk about or who is written about in the papers or the crime figure described by the government. If Hoover, which is 71 now, is successful in undoing his federal life sentence, he would still have a state murder sentence to serve, and he likely do so in the federal system. But prosecutors have expressed concern that Hoover would next launch legal attacks on the case. Former prosecutor Ron Saffer has said Hoover ran a gang from prison that was responsible for the highest murder rate the city has ever seen, a drug network that was persuasive and efficient, and an organization that controlled parks and street corners and neighborhoods and made it impossible for children to go outside and be children. In his letters, Hoover wrote that the Fed's Supermax prison has been called as close to hell as possible, and he agreed. He acknowledged being aware, anecdotally, that some misguided people hold him up as a symbol, and he wrote, "I wish this were not so. Regardless, these people are apart from me and do what they do with zero encouragement or direction from me." Hoover wrote, "To be clear, if I had any ability to influence them, I ask that they forget me and forsake the gang life forever." Hoover wrote that he took responsibility for his past aiding that he was lost in an enduring pattern of criminality, those of many years ago. But he wrote, I have long since renounced my association with any and all criminal organizations and their membership. I am no longer a member, leader, or even an elder statesman of Gangster Disciples, Hoover wrote. I want nothing to do with it now and forever. Hoover claims run contrary to recent allegations by federal prosecutors early last year. An indictment in the East St. Louis alleged that Hoover promoted two men to top posts in Gangster Disciples while he was locked up in the Supermax prison. The indictment charged others with crimes, but not Hoover. Chicago's top federal prosecutor, U.S. Attorney John Losh, also made an unusual direct plea to Leyenberger in July 2020, that's the judge, telling him it would be a miscarriage of justice to reduce Hoover's sentence in any way, shape, or form. It simply makes no sense now to give him a chance to run the Gangster Disciples, Losh said. But attorneys Jennifer Bonjean and Justin Moore wrote in a new motion that Larry Hoover, who graces the cover of the government's opposition papers, died long ago, notwithstanding the government's unfounded claim that he harbors a desire to reclaim his title as the king of the Gangster Disciples, an enterprise that bears little resemblance to the organization he built in the 1970s. Bonjean, who on Tuesday filed an appearance on Hoover's behalf, is the attorney who helped free actor Bill Cosby and now represents R&B singer and convicted serial predator R. Kelly. Wow. Hoover ordered a murder in 1973 that led to his conviction in the state court and sentenced up to 150 to 200 years in Illinois' prison system. There, the feds say he ran a $100 million a year drug business as tens of thousands of gang soldiers continued to work for him in the Chicago area and other cities. A federal investigation then led to Hoover's conviction for running a criminal enterprise. Leyenberger gave Hoover a life sentence in 1998. At the end of the hearing that prompted a finger-pointing confrontation between two men, Leyenberger told Hoover the charisma he used to gain the loyalty of thousands was proof he could have been a great man. You misuse a great gift that you received from God, Leyenberger told Hoover that day. Wow, that's crazy.
He's in prison. He is still viewed by police as the leader of the state's largest and most dangerous street gang.
So Hoover was already serving hella time. And, you know, he came and got those visits, the visitor badges, you know, they put them on you. And they had listening devices in them. That's how he got caught up. Now, let's just say he do get the federal sentences reduced, right? He still got all that time in the state. And I'm wondering, how can he get back on that? What loopholes in that, you know? For years, decades, I heard free Larry Hoover, free Larry Bernard Hoover. But in reality, it don't seem like he's going to come home. He said some powerful things on tape, and his lady had owned the tapes. And his family was trying to seek him so, you know, they can play him for the court and show how he's grown and the powerful things that he said. I don't know why they just want to go get it re-recorded. And they wanted to use it for like a little documentary or whatever. And she ended up coming across WAC 100, which said, hey, no, don't get that to them. Let's get some money from it. But the thing is, they have a close relationship with the Prince family. They got money. Why they just didn't pay for him? Was it the principal? You know how egos are. I think that he would be able to do a lot of good if he got out. Look how powerful and influential he is and how much people love him. Kanye West and Drake came together to do it. Really, it was Kanye West concert because Drake, I don't think, did one song. He just walked on stage and walked off with dude. Did it for the Prince family. This whole situation kind of mind boggles me, man. Jeff Ford, another figure people don't really talk about, but he was just as big as Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover actually learned from him because he was the first that really did it to that level, right? He's locked up for a terrorism act. They attempted to blow up something for Gaddafi. It failed. Got caught up. He's serving like a 60, 70 year sentence. I just don't see him getting out, man. I just don't see it. The government don't want powerful black men out here like that. They can control the streets at the snap of a finger. They can organize and assemble like that. But I think that they overthinking they are relevant, but they overthinking the relevance and the effect they can have. These young guys today don't have no OGs. They tell you that all the time. We don't have OGs, homie. We don't got no OGs. Who they gonna listen to? They don't listen to their own mom and daddies and the big homies in the street. They don't respect them. And I understand why they don't respect them, because y'all failed us. You did. You failed us. And I'm going to be quite honest. I know people might not want to hear this, but I believe Hoover and Ford failed us too. They was just too young. They was too young to understand what they had and what it could have been. A lot of lives could have been saved, but a lot of lives were destroyed. But I do, like who those brothers become and the knowledge and wisdom and understanding they put out here and spreading the devotion to Islam. I do respect it. Had they been a little bit older, they probably would have got their money, got up out the game, and changed. But rarely, everything 2020 in hindsight. Rarely does a person get their money, get out before it all falls down and crumble. Every street organization that we had has failed in the long run. That's Crips, Bloods, GDs, Vice Lords, Stones. Yeah, there's some good brothers in those organizations doing some good things, but as a total, the totality of it, it's just not that. We've been failed by our elders. Hope y'all enjoyed the story. Peace and blessings be upon y'all. Big Five.